It's 9 o'clock and I already want to go to bed. I'm fucking exhausted. Hello, Internet. This is Olin from What I'm Listening To. So we're about 8 months into 2018, and a lot of great new albums have come out so far this year. Some of the things I've shown in sporadic vlogs, but as of now, I have yet to dedicate a vlog strictly to 2018 albums that I own and have listened to. So I went through the 2018 albums that I had not talked about in other vlogs, and I've gathered them here, and we're gonna talk about them today and give you my little insight and talk about whether or not they're worth checking out or not. Who am I kidding? They're ending up on this vlog. They are worth checking out. So with all that being said, let's get started. First album I have here, this is The Breeders' All Nerve. The Breeders are an amazing band. They're fronted by the Pixies' now former bassist, Kim Deal. Their first two albums are bangers, absolute incredible releases. For the longest time, they were the only two Breeders records I had in my collection, and afterwards I kinda lost interest in their material, up until I heard a couple cuts off of this one. I was visiting the Last Record Store in Santa Rosa, and they were playing this song that was like really sludgy and garage rock oriented, but it had a female vocalist. It was so heavy and dark, I had to know who it was. And lo and behold, I was shocked to find that it was indeed the Breeders. So needless to say, I picked up this record and I've been really digging it. They've had a bit of a lineup change ever since, but Kim Deal is still the main person behind the band. She's still awesome, and now that she's no longer in the Pixies, I think she's focusing all her attention on this group. Hopefully we can expect to see more new music in the future, but until then, this is an album absolutely worth checking out. Highly recommend it. I wish I could remember the song it was that I heard in the store, but I will play it in the music preview right now. The next album I have here, this is a band called La Luz. This band has been under my radar for quite some time actually, but it took up until now to actually get into them. La Luz is an all-female surf rock band, and their whole shtick is they're really trying to harness the feel, the sound, and the vibe of 60s surf rock bands like the Beach Boys. Their look, their sound, their harmonies, everything about them is just spot on. But it isn't just surf rock they do. They have some songs that are a little on the psychedelic side, some that are on the dream pop side. In a way, they kind of remind me of Chastity Belt, but with a little bit more surf rock and hot.
The creature stepped out of the wall and then in the blackness it amassed above my head.
I randomly stumbled across the music video for their song Mean Dream and basically went and sought out the album right after that. It's one of their more dream poppier sounding songs, but the melody that they capture on there is so good. And because I knew of them in the first place, I figured it was high time to actually get a proper album and check them out. And I'm really glad I finally did, because this is definitely a highlight of the year. They have a couple more releases in their discography. This is their newest album called Floating Features. I'm gonna have to check out the rest of their stuff, but I'm still listening to this one on and off. It's a fantastic record, and if you're a fan of the Beach Boys or surf rock or even dream pop, I highly recommend checking these ladies out.
Anything I
album I have here. This is The Songs of the Saxophones. I actually have my girlfriend to thank for getting me into this band. She randomly found them through Spotify. Spotify has this really cool feature where they will make you a custom playlist based on stuff that you had been listening to. So for example, if you've been listening to a lot of Black Flag, they'll pick out some bands that sound similar, maybe like the Meat Puppets or the Minutemen, etc., etc. I don't really use Spotify much because I just listen to so much music through CDs that I don't feel the need to use it. But since she uses it, she finds stuff that I probably never would find in the first place, and this is a testament to that. The music this band makes is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me so much of guys like Leonard Cohen, Nick Drake, and some of the later Johnny Cash stuff when he was recording on American records. There are songs on here that'll make you weep tears of happiness or weep because they're just so fucking heartbreaking. But overall, it's an incredible album. And it's also exciting because they're a local band hailing from Oakland.
I'm starting to stop as we speak. I'm starting to lose. I'm falling asleep and I'm sorry again.
This is their first full-length album. They have 2 or 3 other EPs available on their Bandcamp. Highly recommend checking them out, but mainly check this album out. These guys are fantastic. They absolutely deserve some love, and I really hope that this album got some success because I would love to see them putting out more music in the future.
We may not ever know. All the things I want and all the things I feel.
The next album I have here, I have Deafheaven's Ordinary Corrupt Human Love. Ever since I heard Deafheaven's album Sunbather, I've been a fan of theirs. And I have Steve the roommate to thank for introducing them to me. Way back when we were both living in our hometown, I bumped into him at a coffee shop. He was leaving and I was going in, and we just made little small talk about whatever we were listening to, and randomly he said, hey, you should check out this band, Deafheaven. They have this album, I think it's called Sunbather. It's got a pink cover, you can't miss it. So I kind of kept that information in the back of my head and just went about my day. But when I finally sat down in front of my laptop and checked them out, I was blown away. Their whole thing is they mesh post-metal, shoegaze, and black metal, and they call it black gaze. Now, they are definitely not the band who started that whole fusion. They've gone out of their way to say that there are other bands who have been doing that sound for longer than them, but they have certainly made it more popular now. So Sunbather is an absolute masterpiece. Roads of Judah, their album before Sunbather, is also really good. Then they put out New Bermuda, which was a little bit more away from the shoegaze side of things and more focused on being a metal record. Still really unique sounding and great. Then they put out this one. This one, I feel like they decided to stray a little bit away from metal and focus more on being post-metal. It's still really heavy and it still has those black metal shrieks and growls, but it's a lot more dynamic compared to the previous records. There seems like there's a lot more slower moments that are very, very emotional and technical, and the vocals are mixed up a little bit more so you can make out what they're exactly saying rather than having the screams serve as more of an ambience or atmosphere. These guys are making some of the most interesting metal music I've ever heard. I was really excited when they announced this album, and I'm even more excited to add it to the collection. If for some reason you haven't heard of this band yet, definitely check them out. I recommend starting with Sunbather and working your way up. You will love that album, and if you like it, you'll probably like this one too. The last album I have for you today, I have the Death Grips Year of the Snitch. I actually literally just bought this album today. It had already been out for a couple months, but I didn't really jump on it immediately because I really wasn't in an industrial hip-hop phase. But on a whim, one day I decided to sit down and actually give it a proper listen just to educate myself. And I dug it, and now I have it. In the same vein that Deafheaven is making really interesting metal music, the Death Grips are making really interesting hip-hop music. And if you have not heard of the Death Grips, then let me describe them for you. Picture hip-hop, punk rock, digital hardcore, and industrial music all coming together to make some weird fusion thing. It is definitely not hip-hop music that's suited for everybody, but if you have an open mind about it, I think you'll be interested.
Can't double back, double stack, triple stack, jet pack, low crack, low cal, grand prize tank, grand prix lack, might say the feedback. Speed gap, long highway, speed neck, deep chain on deck with no grease trap.
Every album they put out is really unique and interesting and is just a totally cool experience. Year of the Snitch was the first album they put out, and I want to say 3 or 4 years since Bottomless Pit, which is also another great record. It's great to see that after not having put out any new music since Bottomless Pit, they still got it with this record. My favorite tracks off of this are Death Grips Is Online, Flies, Black Paint, and Ha Ha Ha.
Ha ha ha.
Really excited to have this in my collection, and also the cover is just equally as good. It's fucking disgusting, but it's just so cool to me. Definitely a highlight of this year.
Flies, vomit me, together some words, several touch, the opportunity arrives, vomit me, flies, vomit me, vomit green earth.
Alrighty then, internets, that does it for me. Hey, if you have any bands or albums you want me to check out, particularly anything that came out in 2018, leave a comment down below, and if I like it, maybe I'll feature it in another vlog. Also, if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It'll show me the support, and I'll love your face for it. And you can also follow me on Instagram for even more music. I post a new album on there every single day, talk a little bit about it, and it gives you a bit of an insight of what else is in my collection. So, thank you all very much for watching this video. This is Olin from What I'm Listening To, signing out. Goodbye.
I don't need to walk around in circles, walk around in circles, walk around in circles, walk around in